good, Mr. Park?
Yeah.
I shall call the roll of the regular USD 49 school board meeting on December 15th to order. Approval of agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay.
I'm out of trouble, but I vote yes. I'll get back in eventually.
6-0. Are you yes?
Yes.
6-0. The USD 49 District Mission, Vision, Core Values, and Strategic Plan. The mission of USD 49 is to provide a quality learning experience for every student in every classroom every day. To support the mission of the district, the USD 49 Board of Education includes supporting a vision that encompasses high student achievement, highly effective staff, effective and positive communications, and 4, effective management of resources. Consent agenda. Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, on the consent agenda, you have in your packet today the minutes from our last regular meeting on November 24th. You have Hayes Rec Commission, their December minutes and their agenda. On personnel, you have the personnel for approval, but just to highlight Shelley Westhusen, who's been with the district for 25 years, is retiring at the end of the school year. So congratulations to Shelley. She's been a long-time teacher here, and we have really appreciated all the stuff that she's done for the district. Just also disposal of obsolete district property. That's just a wheelchair bus. As you remember, the board approved for a new wheelchair bus quite a while ago. We do have it now, so we're ready to dispose of the old bus. Financials, Chris?
Nothing necessarily in the financials, but want to add to the list of donors. As they were working through the project, Trustcraft jumped in and they donated all the lumber, the cost of lumber. So the change the cost to us, but another one of the business, but worth noting, another business jumped in to be a part of that donation to make the storage building at Hayes High happen. So
You said Trustcraft?
Trustcraft, so the trust plan.
That's Heartland's.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's awesome.
I have a question about that. So the where it's located, if we ever wanted to connect those buildings, is it going to be right where that building is? From what I looked on the thing, it looked like it was going to be built right in that spot. If we ever needed to connect the buildings like we did.
If you ever connect to the buildings, you're going to connect it on that sidewalk, I would assume. You're going to put a covering above that sidewalk that goes between, which is a long ways from.
Yeah, to get through here, you'd have to shut down all the delivery lane,
Yeah.
fire lane, and all that, so you wouldn't.
So there was no plan, there was never a plan or.
You'd run out the.
In that area, no, there wouldn't. I don't know of any plan to connect them.
Yeah. Well, just the history before, we had that building, and then we put a breezeway, and then we put a cover over it, and then we built in between
Right.
the building.
Right.
So that was the process before, because the winter is so harsh, and it's going to be hard for those kids to go back and forth.
As Mr. Wilson said, though, if you were going to connect them, there would be places you would do it. You wouldn't do it from there.
It wouldn't be in the way of any way.
Area.
Okay. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, no. Passes 6-0. Public forum. Is anybody wanting to speak to the board tonight? Okay, then we have 4.1 presentations.
Yeah, tonight we have Austin Spencer, who is our school resource officer, here to just kind of give an update on everything from the first semester. Also, just like these guys, police chief here, so he better be on his best behavior.
All right, Thank you guys for having me. This is the start of my third year now as the school resource officer. Obviously, this year was quite a bit different with the move. So I was asked kind of to speak on how the move went from my perspective and how that changed my job, and then kind of what I'm anticipating with the middle school move. So I was unable to get in the school the week prior when the teachers and admin moved in just because of my schedule. So I didn't know really the building at all until that first open house night that the students came to. So it's kind of funny, all the students were coming up to me asking where to go, and they were holding a map at the time, and I said, I don't know, let's look at your map. Like, I'll find it with you, because I don't know. So I spent really the first few weeks walking even more than I do typically, just trying to figure out the layout, figure out how the rooms were numbered. So I did a lot of that. Also in the first few weeks, there was a lot of contractors and different people, non-school people in the buildings. So I was just kind of trying to monitor that as we had doors open for materials going in and out, people going in and out that were not part of our school. So that posed kind of some challenges from me being the safety and security person. So that was kind of the focus of the first few weeks. Found like doors that didn't seal properly didn't close properly because the seals were too tight or different things. So I worked with the maintenance staff and the principals and all the way up to Rusty to make sure we were able to have that building working as it should from a security side of things. Another big thing that came up was just traffic and how everything was going to flow on Hayes Way, the perimeter road, and the new parking lot. So I spent the first few weeks really out in the parking lot with the principals on foot, watching how the traffic flowed, what needed to be tweaked. I walked the parking lot with Principal Henderson and kind of came up with the plan on the one-way street and the no right turns in certain areas. Me, him, and a contractor walked out before all the striping and arrows were painted in the parking lot. So that's kind of what I spent the first part of the school year doing. And it really went pretty smooth, I feel like, from my perspective. I was pretty quickly able to get back into my normal routine of just doing patrol and security checks. And then now I've been able to get back into I've done presentations in classes. It's pretty much just status quo for me at this point. I did help kind of with events as well, like football and now basketball that we've hosted a tournament and a game, just from, again, a security standpoint of what we expect, and then after the events on kind of we had crowds congregating here or lights weren't working here and what we need to do from a safety and security point. So I've worked with them to kind of tweak some things and feel like everything went pretty smooth. And then with the middle school next door, I personally, I get asked all the time how I feel that's going to go for me, and I think it's going to make my job easier. If you guys don't recall or haven't read the MOU of what my actual role is, I work at the high school. It's where my office is, and then I support the middle school. So I'm there. I try to get there once a week, typically during the lunchtime, so I can see every student. I hang out in the lunchroom. I'll typically eat lunch with students. And then if the principal's called me, I go over there otherwise. With them being next door, I plan on being there more often because I don't have to drive across town now. Now the entire campus is going to be where I'm at, so I'm going to get my steps in, but it'll be easier for me to be present at the middle school now because I can easily walk from one building to the next, as I've already do sometimes going over to the E building or Tech Annex as we call it now. So I think it'll be pretty good for me from that standpoint. I know people are concerned about traffic. Again, I know Sean and Tom and Rusty and all the way up through traffic engineers that were hired throughout the whole process have worked really diligently. They've asked my input on things when Hayes High, when the new one was first built, and then now that they're moving over, they've asked my input on how I think traffic flow will go, and I really think they have a really good plan in place. Again, I'll be there to assist. There'll be other police officers on the street that will help with the increase as needed and being in the area, but I don't foresee any major issues. That's pretty much what I had.
Do you, how are the monitors working for you, Austin? Like we saw your office, it's just filled with monitors of the cameras and security. Is that the tech working well for you?
Yeah,
As far
yeah, I
as
have.
visuals and those types of things?
Yeah, I have one monitor pulled up almost all the time that has cameras on it. It's typically of the high school, because that's where I'm at. And I'll have different views up depending on what's going on or what time of day. But yeah, I have those running. Scott's really helped me. Scott Summers has helped me explain the whole camera software system and make sure it's working for me. So yeah, I use that quite a bit.
And Ron, this question I guess would be for you. So the middle school, when it moves, does he have access to those security cameras?
I'm sure, I mean, I can't technically answer that, but I think, yes, he would.
Do you have, does he?
I still have it now from
Okay.
previously. So I've actually, I've looked a few times just to look at how it looks over there, just because I was curious on what they were doing remodeling. So yeah, it still works from when it was my system last year.
And
So have you gotten a chance to walk that where they've done all the remodeling?
I have not been in the new middle school since it's been remodeled at all.
And what's it like, your timing getting to an incident, if there is one, versus the old high school? I mean, obviously it takes you longer because it's a bigger school, but I'm asking that, Austin, because do you foresee that you would need help in the future with the campus the way it is? For budgeting purposes, why I'm asking you that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big campus. And do you mean incident-wise, like just at the high school, or you see the whole campus?
The whole campus.
Because the high school in general, I don't think there's no issues. Obviously, it takes me a little longer. We had an incident in the tech annex in the old E-Hall that I was in my office at the time, and I kind of, instead of going out, the students have to go all the way through by the gyms and go through the Athletics Hall of Fame and then across that sidewalk. I went outside and kind of ran across to kind of cut the corner a little bit. So I was still able to get there pretty quickly, and there was, I feel like I was able to get there in plenty of time, that there was no issue. I feel like I can get anywhere in the school in a pretty good amount of time. And same thing for the campus in general. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, right now, if Tom or Shauna or Bruce call me, I have to drive across town.
Right.
So them calling me in a month, even if I'm walking or running, it's still going to be faster than going across town. And even they kind of know, as of right now, if they have something, which hasn't happened really, but if they have something big, they know to call dispatch to get more officers coming. So there's already kind of plans in place, but I'm able to manage.
Okay. So I guess I would just like to, at the end of this next semester, with the campus being full, like an updated report, if you ever need help, if you feel like it's overwhelming or something, because your job is very, very important to the district. It is to me, and I'd love to hear your input. I appreciate you coming out tonight and speaking to the public on behalf of what you do, and I appreciate you being there very much.
Yeah. Thank you. And
I have another question. So in your office, how many different monitors can you have up at the same time? I mean, do we have a bank of like the middle school and a bank of the high school?
that's not how it's set up.
So it's just one?
I have 2 laptops and then a monitor on top of that, so I have 3 screens. And in terms of cameras, they're only on 1 screen. I guess it would be up to to Scott, because it's computer or school system stuff, but I'm sure it'd be feasible to get a second monitor to have both schools pulled up at the same time.
I think that would be reasonable. That way we can monitor that. I mean, my little farmyard's got 4 cameras, and I get them on my phone and at my house, and all at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm a little
I don't think that's that hard a deal.
I'm a little concerned number-wise, because it sounds like we're saying you only have to manage 2 schools, and like a ratio of 1 to 2 doesn't sound so intimidating, but like to me, it's really a ratio of 1 to 2,000. Because
Yes.
it's 1 resource officer for 2,000 students. And so like, these questions aren't to say, like, you're doing a great job, you are doing an excellent job. I have not heard a single concern from anybody. I've only heard praises. So like, thank you so much for that. I'm concerned that, you know, when we do have 2,000 students in a very tight area, is one SRO going to be enough? Like, do you need support? Do we need to be allocating money for that support? So please let us know what we can do.
Yeah. And then, like Ruth said, if we can hear back at the end of the year and see how it goes.
Yeah.
What's the current enrollment now? About 1,000? At Hayes High?
Well, we got 1,100 at Hayes High and about 650 at Hayes Middle.
Has the police department had a tour of the school with you?
Yeah, I don't know every single officer, but there's been opportunities. I think vast majority of police officers from the Hayes Police Department have been through, and then I know some randoms from the sheriff's office and the highway patrol have toured it as well.
And are there processes to look for, like, there's a lot of glass in that building, and are the kids, what steps are we making to make sure they're safe with all the glass?
I mean, it's pretty much the same for me. I don't really know in terms of they're still a classroom. Yeah, you can see into some of them now. There's not a whole lot different that I can do, or the teachers can do, or the school can do. It's
And at the crisis plan, you're involved with developing the crisis plan for?
I've worked with, Julie Zollinger, who's kind of the head of the district for that, and then Mrs. Hickert is the one that actually does it for the high schools. Yeah, I've worked with both of them.
Are you still working on it new because it's just started, or are they done?
For the high school, it was done for the start of the school year.
Okay.
I want to reiterate what Jamie said, that all I hear is great things about what you've done, and we really do appreciate it. You've been an added value to our district, and really do tell us if you see things that you need and that we can be helping you with.
And I guess my next question would probably be for Dawn. Do you foresee city help starting next school year? If we need it, that we'd have city help with another officer? Or is it something the district would need to look at as far as a security officer that we would hire out? Is that talk that you've ever had with city manager?
Like you guys, I'm a little concerned we get that big a campus, that many people on that campus. I do think it's important that we come back, like you said, take a look at it, see how that semester went. I can see the need. I think Mr. Albert would take us SRO for his school, but we'd have to sit down and talk about that.
You know, and another concern is, we're a mile from the interstate,
What's that?
We're sitting a mile from that interstate.
Yes.
So,
Again, you get that many people in one building, it's always a concern. So, and the concerns about the glass, that it's a beautiful school, it's a beautiful facility, but it's done. So we can't go back and change those things. We just have to prepare for how it is. So.
Well, there's like the bulletproof film or whatever you put on it. I mean, are those already safety glass that's that way, or do you know? Or?
I can't speak to that.
What do you mean bulletproof
Probably
film?
shouldn't in this environment.
They have a covering you put over there that helps. That they offer it at they showed it, demonstrated it at the
Oh, we can purchase it.
That's a
Okay,
covering.
I thought you meant like it was already installed.
I don't know, maybe it is, I don't know what our glass specs are.
Okay.
I appreciate it very much.
Anybody-
Thank you very
I
much.
have one other question. So do you support or do you go help in the elementary schools, and how do you do that?
Per the contract, the MOU, I do not.
So we don't have any coverage in any elementary schools?
So we have,
It's the regular police department, I guess?
yeah, the police department does. We have through the police department, we call it Adopt a Cop, where officers choose a school that they want to be their school, and they stop out there, they meet the principals, and then they'll stop out there randomly, just interacting with the kids as they can. And then if the principal has, or a teacher has like a presentation or something they want done, they will typically contact their officer who's worked with them to go do that presentation.
And we're still current with our DARE program in all the schools? They're not, it's not available anymore in any of the Hayes schools?
I don't think they've been doing that for a while.
Okay. Gentlemen, I greatly appreciate your work. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, reports, 5.1.
Yeah, just updates on the bond. You have in your agenda tonight, you have the update on O'Loughlin. Things are looking good there. Really just pretty much have everything close to being closed in. So work will probably progress throughout the winter. So big part of that will be now that the semester has ended at O'Loughlin, or will end here at the end. They will move basically the serving area over into the gymnasium. And so the cafeteria at O'Loughlin then will start here in a few weeks. We'll start going under renovations, and that will be, walled off, and they'll be doing construction inside that, which will become the office area and everything. So we've made all the arrangements, so food will be served out of the gym. It's going to be a little bit of an issue because once again we have that gym cafeteria situation where we have to quickly clean up and get the gym ready for PE shortly after lunch. So it's just kind of some headaches that it's the price of progress. So like I said.
Sounds like Wilson Elementary.
Yeah, very much, yeah. Hayes Metal, spent a considerable amount of time out there today, even last week. Felt like today we have turned a corner a little bit, and we're really trending in a good direction towards getting everything. Of course, the move starts this week, Thursday and Friday. It's everything. It's hard to believe that it's here because we've been talking about it for 8 months. So. I put in the notes just the last event, actual athletic event was last weekend. Our wrestling team at the middle school. So next event will be over at 2300. Middle school students, their last day will be Wednesday, and so they'll have a little bit longer break than our other students as they will return a day later in January 7th. Once again, there'll be an open house for students and parents on January 6th. Once hopefully everyone's moved in and got everything ready, the day before the reopening of 2300 for as middle school. And just some huge thanks to a lot of people. It's really going to be a great spot for our students. Just a huge kudos to Nabholz. Their work on one of our buildings has been outstanding. Our custodial building ground staff, especially Rusty Lindsay has managed a lot of these projects and has really kept everything in line. Jeff Arnold, Jim Glendinning Jr., Cole Lang specifically, who has spent a considerable amount of time in those buildings over the last semester, as well as a lot of our other custodians who have helped here or there when they were able. Mr. Albers and just his awesome HMS staff, everything they've done to prepare. I just can't even, it's just unbelievable how much work they have done to prepare for this move. It's just really incredible. And it's very organized, and I think it'll go very smoothly. So just an update on the concessions. This is the first time that Hayes High had concessions. this fall. So we had, of course, some football games, some volleyball games, some soccer games. I think what I was able to figure out, we had about $7,000 that was distributed among 4 student groups. You have to remember, that was the first time they'd ever had that ability to just have that money from concessions. What we would anticipate that the winter season will definitely probably surpass that $7,000. So I would guess anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000 we will accrued over the course of the year for our student organizations that we didn't have the previous year. You also have to remember, we're not spending any dollars towards fields for using Fort Hays, well, at least football, and that was roughly about $15,000 there. So definitely some positives.
Yeah, and the money that, the concessions can save parents too, that have to put extra
Sure.
money of their own forward for the organizations that their kids are involved with. So this is big for our district, and
Yeah.
Kudos to all the volunteers who always help, all the people that are always back there. So I'm excited for this part for our kids.
Yeah, it's
very exciting.
it's been really nice.
So you're talking about the fall sports, we haven't had concessions, because we've always had concessions at the middle school and high school for fall
Yeah,
sports,
this is just
winter
high school.
sports.
This is the high school.
So you're just talking about the,
Yeah.
so, okay. I misunderstood, because I thought you said we've never had concessions, which you're just talking about football.
Yeah.
Right.
Concessions, okay.
And soccer and volleyball. Mr. Wilson?
Volleyball, we had concessions.
Yes, we would. Yeah, that would have been.
You are correct.
That is correct.
Got me.
The 4 organizations, is that a volunteer thing, or can any organization?
Yeah, I believe,
I mean, I don't know how they.
The organizations can sign up. We're still evolving, right? So this was
Okay.
the first one. Basically, Julie and Jenny worked with all the different sponsors within the high school, put the offer out there, hey, if your organization in the past has been doing fundraisers, you want to do something else, here's a way to do. I know FCCLA threw in extra staff, and they were raising money specifically for state organization or state contest, because they had qualifiers last year, and it was a scramble to be able to pay for that. They went a long ways to pay for that trip with the Great Men football game. And many other organizations, the Foreign Language Club, there's many of them, basically they just sign up, take their turn, send workers for taking their games.
So if they're an organization within our Hayes High, they have an opportunity to do.
Goes to the high school first, and then,
Okay.
and what we've talked about, if you can't fill with the high school, we'd be able to, once they're all on the same campus, we could even expand it down to
Okay.
junior high. We go straight to sports too. I mean, the tennis team may want to do
Sure.
racket covers.
Okay.
They may take a volleyball game or something.
Now, the gate receipts, do you have a report on how that's turned out?
I don't. We could get one for you though.
Of all the, and then that also comes to general fund?
No, gate receipts all go activity fund, so they all help fund the cost of putting on the event, paying for officials, all of that stuff.
Hey, so is there a plan as far as like concession stands, making it something, I can see like, if you make it kind of more of a free-for-all, sometimes they might not have enough staff, like the Great Big Game, I'm sure required more people. I mean, it's some sort of way to make sure that things aren't falling through the cracks.
Football's the big one.
Yes, and that's what the gals
So
that are
it
running it
won't be
right
new
now.
money.
I mean, we met before we started, we met again afterwards and kind of debriefed on how everything went, and they're making the plans and adjusting plans. So yes, I'm confident that they already evolved that process so much from game 1 to, was Great Bend our last home game? Whatever, to the last home game.
It's a playoff game.
Evolved a bunch,
Yeah.
and continuing to evolve it as we roll into basketball and have ideas of
No.
what we want to do in football next year.
Yeah, it got better each time. I think I did 3 games, and it was each time was smoother.
Light years improved. First game
No.
was a little rough. First game was very rough.
Yeah.
Julie and Jenny did a great job.
Nope.
As sponsors, taking that on and being able to run with it, did a great job.
Well, not to mention even basketball season, like the Hayes High TMP game was so cool because it was filled. It was
Yeah.
filled. So that's more concessions.
That's exactly
In
right.
our-
And when you think about it, yes, we've always had basketball, and it won't be going from 0 to whatever, but we with the gym space. I mean, I know a lot of people who didn't go. One, as Mr. Wilson pointed out, even the handicap accessibility, yeah, you got to go up the elevator, but we got an elevator, and then you got observation decks. So there are it's a lot easier to actually view the game now if you've got mobility issues than it was in the old gym, which was all flat, right? Makes sense, you can go in, but there's no place to go. You're sitting on the end wall or whatever. So yes, the crowds are going to be bigger because there's more space, and it's going to be a lot more inviting.
Absolutely.
And I've heard comments that it was easy to get in, coming down and over than having to go across the floor. But, okay.
I just want to just give you a little bit of a legislative update. The legislative session hasn't begun. It doesn't begin until January 12th. But the process for the budget has already begun. There's been a ton of work. To give the board a little bit of of where things, are maybe heading. The interesting thing, I found this very interesting in information from the state education leaders who we meet with, is that the weightings this year, so basically I should say, state of Kansas, there's 9,000 less students this year than last year. Now, they would tell you, or what we learned is that the majority of that decrease is from less kindergartners coming in and larger classes going out. It's exactly what we saw in our district, which is we have about 9,000 less in the state. That means less weightings, meaning you have less kids who are transported, you have less at-risk kids possibly, all the different weightings, which means that the state of Kansas isn't having to come up with as much money. So that has created maybe possibly a little bit of they've earmarked this money, and now when we got their numbers in, about $105 million that was earmarked to spend. If we'd had the same numbers as last year, it went up, we would have had that to spend. I think what's interesting is, and if you remember, it's been several years, they have been using the cost of living increase, the COLA, they're doing the 3-year average, and that's kind of determined what our base per pupil has been. It's estimated right now, it looks like it's about 3%. That's a little bit of an increase. That's a great increase. However, if you're bringing in less kids, doesn't mean you're going to have more money. It's all relegated on how many kids you're bringing in. The interesting thing, and this is why I want to highlight this to the board, the State Board of Ed just the other day finalized their legislative priorities, and they said, hey, we'd like to see $165 million in budget enhancements into, K-12 education. They specifically said $145 million for SPED. Now, will we, just because the state board asked for it, every year they ask for an amount, we get it. But here's the unique thing. You have to consider there's $105 million that they already had earmarked for education that are not going to be spent because we got less kids. So as board members, I think it's important to understand when legislators tell you, oh, we're funding, education, they have to there's money there. There's money there, and we really should see some increase in SPED funding. Because once again, as we've said, when we have to start the year taking money from our general fund, which is money that we're using to pay our teachers and do lots of other things, when we're taking a big chunk just to get our SPED staff or the year started, we're draining the piggy bank before we even start the year. And we just really need some relief in that area.
And Ron, I think too, that it's the whole city, county, everybody, when we talk about housing, how important housing is in our district itself. Because if we can get those kids that were born and raised in Hays, Kansas and left to go to Kansas City and want to come home now, we have to have affordable housing for them, which impacts our district in a very big way. So all of us have to work together on trying to get housing because how do we fund? We fund off property tax. So those are huge impacts that we need to really look at as a district.
So anyway, I just wanted to share that. Like I said, the legislature session doesn't start till January 12th, but there has been a ton of work done, and so I think it's important.
Are they this year going to be refiguring the funding formula?
There's work being done right now. That's for 2027, so.
Yeah.
But the work is being done now. It'll be looked at
Any
during the
concerns
legislative.
about that at all, or?
Well, once again, there's just so many things floating out there. So I tend not to be someone that jumps the gun and tries to, say the sky is falling when we don't really know. So we'll just deal with it when we have to deal with it.
One of the things that they were saying that this year, that is the biggest senior class that we're going to have in the next 20 years. It's
Yeah.
going to continue. Have you heard that stat?
Yeah, well, that's what the trend is. And you also have to, and we've talked about this because we've talked about numbers and our numbers, and specifically, COVID was 2020. Those are our kids that are kindergartners now. So did that affect some of our numbers? We're going to see the effect for the next few years because of that? I don't really know what the reason is. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. We can we can talk about that there's, more people moving east than moving west. So, so we'll just see. But once again, it's all about how, just like Ruth's saying, we got to have families in our community, and we have to continue to compete. And that's what's great about what we have done over the last several years. We've made some facilities that I can give you hundreds of examples of people that talk to me and say, "Wow, this is incredible. This is amazing. This is people outside of Hayes who are talking about Hayes," and that definitely plants seeds that opportunities come here that
And a
might be.
big part of that is how our schools are.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure is.
Yep.
So, just the last thing I want to add is, of course, Megan is not here this evening, but do want to acknowledge her 4 years on the school board. Really appreciate Megan and what she's done. And she was always a very thoughtful decision maker and really put a lot of care and dedication into her job as a board. So just wanted to acknowledge her.
I agree. I wanna thank Megan.
She carried the candle for the libraries.
She did.
Okay, anybody, any questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Wilson. All right, moving on to 6.1, the district audit.
Good evening. I'm Jamie Benishek, and I have Alexis Crispin with me tonight. We're from Adams Brown, and we're going to go over your audit report. Do you have it in front of you? Okay. Page 1 of the audit report is where our opinion is listed. So the first paragraph there says adverse opinion on U.S. generally accepted accounting principles. This essentially means we're not issuing an opinion on U.S. GAAP. Every year, you as the board waive U.S. GAAP, and instead you elect to follow the Kansas budgetary basis of accounting or regulatory basis. We kind of use those words interchangeably. And so then that's under the unmodified opinion on regulatory basis of accounting there. So an unmodified opinion is the best type of opinion that we can issue on your financial statements, and essentially means that, in our opinion, we believe your financial statements are materially correct. So,
Excuse me, you were talking about page 1 of the report, or?
In the book.
yeah, actually, the page 1 at the bottom.
Okay, thank you.
So then on page 5 is the actual financial statement that we are issuing that opinion on. So this is the summary statement of receipts, expenditures, and unencumbered cash. From left to right, you start with your unencumbered cash at the beginning of the fiscal year, add in your receipts, subtract your expenditures, and then the end of June 2025, the ending unencumbered cash was a total of $21,616,000 for the district as a whole. Then you have your encumbrances there to your ending cash balance of $59,967,000. You might notice there are a few funds towards the bottom there, so all of the funds are listed on the left side. There are some that are negative, ending unencumbered cash balance. That's perfectly fine for them to be negative because they are the federal funds. So the way those funds work is you have to spend the money first, submit all of the paperwork, and then you get reimbursed for it later. So all of those amounts have since been reimbursed, and so it's okay for those to be negative. You also might notice that the federal funds fund used to be just one line, and it's since been broken out into each individual fund. So this is internal tracking purposes is a lot easier to see each federal grant and what you're spending it on, and knowing that all of the money is being spent where it's supposed to be spent, and essentially those funds should close out every year, and it's easier to catch any type of errors or anything like that. So any questions on that? Page 6 starts the notes to the financial statements. These are required for us to include in your audit report. They are very similar to last year. They don't change a whole lot from year to year. If there were any statute violations, that would be noted in these footnotes, but we did not have any statute violations this year, so that's great. We have a whole list of statutes that we take a look at to make sure you're in compliance, and we didn't find anything out of the ordinary there. So then on page 14 is a summary of the district's debt. And so at the end of June, the district as a whole had $149,845,000, and then at the bottom you can see the payoff schedule of when those various types of debt will be paid off. On page 15, this is a summary of expenditures actual compared to budget. So the bolded column towards the right side is your actual expenditures for the year. The column to the left is the total budget, and then the far right column is how far under budget you were. And as you can see, none of the funds were over budget, and that would be a violation, which I already noted that you didn't have any. So. And then starting on page 16 is each individual fund. So if you wanted to take a look at the general fund or supplemental, you can see the more detail of each fund there. And that wraps up the financial statement audit. Are there any questions so far? Perfect. I'm going to turn it over to Alex, and she's going to take you through the single audit part.
Okay, so I'm going to let you guys start flipping to page 54, but you guys have to have a single audit because you spend more than $750,000 in federal dollars during the previous year. That has been increased to $1 million for next year, but you're probably still going to have a single audit regardless. But that first page that I'm having you look at, page 54, is the independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting. So this is where we would note any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses over the financial statements. We had none, so I'm going to move past that to page 56. Another independent auditor's report on compliance for each major program. So this is where we would note any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses that we noted with regards to the programs that we tested for your compliance. Again, noted none, so we can go ahead and keep moving. Page 59. This is your schedule of expenditures of federal awards. So this is where you can see the breakdown of all the different programs that you participate in. And that total at the bottom is $7,292,000. So again, you'll be over that million threshold for next year. Page 60 is just some footnotes that we have to include with that schedule. Nothing unusual here or that you would want to be aware of. It's pretty much the same as last year. So then page 61. This is kind of a summary of both sections. Under that financial statement header, you will see that unmodified opinion on the regulatory basis that Jamie mentioned earlier, no material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, or non-compliance noted. And then under the federal awards header, you will see no material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, and again, an unmodified opinion. You can also see the programs that were tested. And then the only other thing that I point out on this page typically is that you guys do not qualify as a low-risk auditee. That's only because you don't do your audit on the gap basis. And all it means is that we have to pick a program that is at least 40% of your federal expenditures for the year versus 20%. And because we also have other rules related to the bigger programs, we can only go every 3 years without testing them. It really doesn't impact you guys all that much. So that is the single audit section. No findings to note. Does anybody have any questions for me before I turn it over to Jamie for the loose leaf letter?
Those federal, I'm on 61, are they just randomly picked, those, or do you have to have so many?
We have to do 40% of your federal dollars. So for this year, we'd take that $7,292,000, multiply it by 40%, and we'd have to pick programs that would meet that. But again, we can only go every third year. Basically, we have to test your programs that are over $750,000. So your food service program, your Head Start, those, the special education, those are going to have to be done on a pretty regular basis.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so then the last item is the loose letter here. We refer to this as the governance letter. And in here, on page 2, towards the bottom, there's audit recommendations. So as Alex mentioned, we don't have any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies of any kind. We do have one audit recommendation. While testing some of the expenditures, we found some immaterial items that were in Skyward in the accounting system in the current fiscal year when they should have been posted back to the prior fiscal year as an accounts payable. And so that's just something to note. Like I said, it's not material, and so we didn't have to note it as a finding or a deficiency, but it is an internal control recommendation to review those transactions a little bit more. Now, that's not to say that
Where's that at?
they're not being tracked. I know you guys have lots of spreadsheets that are outside of Skyward. It was just in the accounting software. It was in the wrong period, so. That is all we have for the audit report. Is there any questions?
Okay, this last page that's in this book,
The very last page
Says
is the
mater-
prior year findings.
it says
So
material
those-
weaknesses.
Those would have been fiscal year '24's findings.
the year before, okay.
And so then the
Okay.
one page prior to that, page 62, is the current year findings.
Okay.
So you can see there were findings in the prior year. Those have all been corrected and fixed. So
Okay.
no findings
you.
in the current year.
Thank you, ladies.
I do want to just take a minute to thank all of the staff between everybody that we pick on while we're here for a day or two. They send a lot of stuff to us electronically. We're calling throughout the year, asking questions. Not us, they're usually asking us questions throughout the year. But then during audit time, we just love how much they accommodate us and get our questions answered, and we are a little bit earlier than we have been in the past, so I'm excited to be here in December and get this off my to-do list before the holidays.
Good job, Chris.
I would say too, Jamie and Alex and Alex Brown have been over the years, not just this year, not just during audit. They're good partners. We lean on them when we've got questions. It's a continuous attempt to improve a little bit all the time. Anytime we know something, when we have questions, when we find stuff, we reach out to them and they're great. Getting an audit like this is obviously the result you want, and it doesn't happen again during that couple of weeks. It's all year long, every conversation in Renee in the accounting department, but also in Amy and employee services with all of the contracts and everything else that gets reviewed. And it's at the building level, with the building secretaries, at the department level, the department admin assistants, and all of those conversations and all that work year-round to make sure that we can get them the questions, get the questions answered accurately on time. A lot of people deserve a lot of credit.
Yes, kudos to that staff.
Yeah.
What section is the activity funds in?
You can see those starting on page 51.
What was your question, Alan?
I was just.
So actually, page 50 is what we call agency funds. So these are going to be any, like a student-led organization. So like all of the different classes, the FFA, STUCO, those are student-led organizations. They do all of the fundraising. They get to decide how to spend that money, et cetera. And then the next page is the district activity funds. So these would be funds that, yes, the students might be out there fundraising, but the sponsor or the teachers or the admin have the overall decision-making on how those expenses get used, how that money gets used. So there's a little bit of difference, but you'll see them on all of those pages. So 50, 51, 52, 53.
If you think about FFA working the concession stand or FCCLI working the concession stand versus the gate receipts that come into activity fund and then get used that way. So the first one that Jamie's talking about would be FCCLA and their organization. The kids make money, the kids make a decision on what to do, the gate receipts or all that other stuff.
So is there on all those control of 3 people look at each, that you have to have signatures or initials on 3 people on all the activity funds?
If there's 3, I don't know if 3, I don't have your policies memorized.
Yeah.
But there's at least
I mean, that's what it
one
used to be. I
person.
don't know if it's changed.
Sorry.
That's the way it used to be. I just wondered.
Oh.
So the purchase order, all of that is electronic. In the last 5 years since we've gone to Skyward, all of it's
Okay.
electronic. So one person has to put in a PO, there's an approval chain of the purchase order, and then somebody else can do the invoicing. So all of it is as much
Segregated?
segregated as possible.
Yeah, so
As
when
much as
the
humanly
purchase order gets input into Skyward, somebody has to put it in, and then somebody has to approve it. And then once the item is received or the invoice is received, the invoice then gets input into Skyward to match up to the PO, and then somebody has to approve the invoice, and then somebody has to approve when the check gets cut, and then when the bank reconciliation gets done, somebody reviews that. So there's lots of layers there. And I believe in Skyward, I have other accounting systems where you literally can't move it to the next step without a reviewer sign off in the accounting system. It can't go to the next step. Now, obviously, there's always ways you can override things, but hopefully, I mean, we haven't found any of that here. So, but I don't know if that's how Skyward is set up or not.
Yeah, at the building level, there's at least 3 people, usually it's 4 or 5, that are going to be involved in any one purchase.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi.
Okay.
Looks like we're good.
You have the rep letter that just sign and email it back to me, and we'll get this filed with the state.
How long did the audit take? You said you got, when did you start and when did you finish?
We request information from Renee and everybody else about 2 or 3 weeks before field work, so probably September. September is when we get the information, and so it was a really quick turnaround this year. It hasn't always been that fast with all of the COVID and ARPA money. It's kind of finally gone. And so, and then just with scheduling, we have a lot of audits to deliver, and they're all on Monday nights. All the boards have board meetings on the same time, so sometimes it's just our schedule doesn't work out, but.
So September through December.
Say that again?
September through December.
Yep.
Thank you.
So you need a motion?
We had about 11 audit deliveries on the same night in October. It was a record for us.
Yes, it's
So I'll make a motion to approve audit of the financial statement as presented by Adams Brown LLC.
Thank you. So moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Seeing no more, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
I shall call for the vote. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed say no. Passes 6-0. 6.2.
Yeah, what you have is the first read on KSB recommended policy updates. Just to run through these real quickly for the board. Once again, you won't take any action this evening. This will come to you in January. Policy BC, BK. Some of these are kind of interesting. Some of them are not. This one's kind of interesting is that you have to understand sometimes these policies are brought because of certain situations. This one deals with executive session, and that there was a situation where a recording was made in executive session, and the reluctance by law enforcement to, I guess, carry forward with some charges. And so the policy was written because of that situation. And so basically this says, just says that recording of executive session is not allowed, and you will be charged if you are found in violation of that. Now, there are some exceptions, and the only really one exception is if a board sometimes, and we've not done this, but if we would hear an appeal for a student disciplinary hearing. We always record all of our student disciplinary hearings, so that would be the one exception where that would be done in executive session, and that's also stated in the policy. So it's kind of, those are, like I said, some of them are kind of interesting, and they're because of situations that have popped up. Policy BG, not that exciting. KSB just wanted to have in the policy that I think it used to say that you had to be a member of KSB to be a member of the National School Board Association. This is just removing that. So if our school board wanted to be part of the National School Board Association, we wouldn't necessarily have to be a member of KSB. Policy IIBE, this is a brand new policy, and of course it deals with artificial intelligence. This is pretty standard. This is going to be a big thing, and that's something Kyle and I attended a conference just a couple weeks ago on this, and it's just some things that we're going to have to really get good at and have good conversations, and this just is a starting point. So we got some policy that lets us understand exactly how to deal with some situations, and specifically with cheating, dealing with artificial intelligence. Policy IKB, this one deals with, it's called controversial issues. I think just as you can imagine, our world has been a little, I don't even know what the right word is. You pick the word, but there's been a lot of personal commentary made, and sometimes that does leak into the classroom, and I imagine this has probably been things that they have seen at KSB, and so they're just kind of revising the policy just to, I guess in a sense, just to remind teachers that you can have teachable moments, but you just really can't express your personal viewpoints. That may cause issues. So just reinforcing that, and we try to reinforce that as well with our staff. Policy IKCA deals with human sexuality education. Basically, all this deals with is just removing AIDS, the word AIDS from the policy that's been in there for a long time. Only reason it's not that AIDS is controversial, it's because they just feel like human sexuality encompasses AIDS. So there's no reason to say human sexuality and AIDS.
So are they removing AIDS from the education or just from the title?
Not from the education
Got it.
specifically.
Just from the title.
Just from the title. So sometimes, yeah, it's not always what it seems. I know I kind of like, but then after more I read the policy.
And Ron, on that one, I noticed at the bottom, AIDS is not scratched out at the very bottom of that. So we need to.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah, down the very
Okay.
bottom. I mean, it's where the parent guardian, and then it says that my child be removed from those portions of the human sexuality AIDS needs to be removed there.
Okay, we'll do that. the IKCA is just the form on human sexuality education. IKD is religion and curricular school-sponsored activities. This just is a policy about reinforcing the rights of parents to be able to opt out of their kids from certain things because of religious beliefs. Something we usually do. IKDA is very similar, is only that it is still that opt-out, but it's more about alerting parents to the content that may be used in classroom that might be counter to a certain student's religious beliefs. And so it's our responsibility as educators to notify parents should there be something. They shouldn't find out about it after the fact. And so it makes it a little difficult for educators because sometimes we don't always understand the home and the certain religious beliefs, but it's the policy that they have included. Policy JBCC is, a couple of years ago they changed the open enrollment policy, so students from other districts can now attend our schools. But this is more about, and this kind of goes back to where it used to be that you could not go into another district's boundaries without getting their permission. Meaning Ellis, we had to get permission. Now, we never did that, but I'm just using an example. We would have had to get permission from Ellis to drive into the district before we would have ever allowed to do that. With the open enrollment, you don't need permission, but it's just that you have the ability now to drive into other people's districts and pick up students. But probably still would work the district. So that just comes with the open enrollment phase. We're not doing any of that.
Didn't they used to have to sign off too?
Yeah, I mean, the school board would have had to sign off that another district could come.
I'm talking about the kids. If a kid came over out of district, I thought the school they were leaving had to sign off.
That would be for activities.
Yeah, okay,
You know,
okay, not
athletics, not necessarily.
Okay, all righty. Okay.
Or any extra.
Yeah, I do remember a couple athletic ones.
So,
Yeah.
Ron, do they still have to have a reason to come to our district, though? I mean, so it can be anything.
Have to be in good standing. So a student has to be in good standing with the new open enrollment policy, meaning they shouldn't have attendance issues, they shouldn't have
Expelled.
a behavior, some disciplinary, quite a few disciplinary issues or things like that. That would be in good standing. Policy JCAC is just about interrogation investigation. This is just to provide some clarity on that. As school personnel, sometimes we are asked to serve as, what's the Latin term, in loco parentis, meaning we step in for parents when they're not available. And that's this policy that just with law enforcement, that when a child might be questioned and the parents are not able to get there, just is to show law enforcement that school personnel can step in place of parents if needed. Policy JDDC, that's bullying. This is a policy that already addresses bullying based upon sex, and so they took out, and once again, it may look a little suspicious, but it's not really what it means is they removed references to gender identity, sexual orientation. And the reason they did that is because the bullying policy already addresses that you can't bully based upon sex, so they just took out additional terms. So it's already covered. Policy JQI is just dealing with our adult students. I don't know if this really, just gives the administration to determine placement of an adult student in our district. If they're 19 or older, we send them to Hayes Virtual sometimes to hopefully get their high school diploma if they're still within reason, or we send them to adult education, which is served out there. Visitor school, once again, this is one of those kind of interesting ones. I think if you remember the last session, you approved this policy that was recommended by KSB, meaning off-duty law officers did not have to provide any kind of, so when you come into the school and we ask you to provide, any one of you come in, they would ask you to give, your driver's license, whatever, yada, yada. And so this was saying that off-duty officers didn't have to do that. And that was approved. Now, there was some concern that we were kind of maybe creating a situation that could be a flaw in the system where some people might find that policy and then come in and just say, I'm an off-duty law officer, I don't have to provide you anything, and get into the school. So this is just fixing that flaw. So that's, I think, just done rundown on the policies. Like I said, that's first read. If you have questions, I'll try to investigate the answer.
I was looking at the recommendations. Did we not put all the recommendations?
Yeah, some of them don't apply to us.
The graduation one doesn't apply?
Which one was that? I remember.
It was IHF.
We had it ready. We had everything ready covered in it.
So it's not the same policy?
It is the same. That's why we don't need to change it.
Okay, it's word for word?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I don't know if it's word for word. I think ours is word. Yeah, ours, we actually put we are dealing with two different graduation requirements right now. The sophomore class and then the others. So ours has what is relevant for juniors and seniors, and then starting with the sophomore class. So as soon as they're sophomores or seniors, then we can clean it up, but it has all the necessary.
Has ours been approved?
Yes, you all did that one.
Right, I mean, but it hasn't been vetted through their attorneys there?
Yeah.
That everything for the state statute lines up?
Yeah, we've reached out to Casey.
Is it still the same IHF?
Yeah, it is the same.
Same number? Okay.
What we updated, we had, they wouldn't have to do the FAFSA, and that was also publicly cited there, so yeah, we're aligned, but you can check it out, it's the same lettering.
So could you tell me again, the new policy that said there was 12 revisions and one new policy, which is the new policy?
Yeah, AI.
AI, oh, the AI one, yeah, sure, okay. And then there was 3 form revisions. Were those different policies or just?
Yeah, just all those, the bullying form, the health, human sexuality form, and what was the other form?
They're all just at the bottom of the actual policy.
Yeah.
I think
It's the activity participation opt-out form.
yeah, they're all just, if you scroll further at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the difference between existing policy revision and the form revisions?
What's the
Because
question?
some districts separate, the form is its own policy. Ours are just combined together.
They're together, okay. That answers my question, thank you.
Okay. Great, all right. 6.3, Hayes Middle School property sale approval.
Okay, yeah, we're just bringing this back in front of you. This is what we discussed at a previous meeting about the 7.2 acres at Hayes, well, I don't know if it's Hayes Middle, at our
North.
former Hayes Middle School, which is north of the Hayes Middle School football field. We had brought it to the board. I think at that time it was asked that we get an appraisal. I'm just bringing the appraisal to you from Simmons and Company. I think what you have in front of you is pretty consistent with what we have talked about in the past as what we feel like is the value. So basically, this evening, just asking the board to approve the authorization for the sale of the 7.2 acres, 7.23 acres district-owned property at Hayes Middle School. And then just also that the board, of course, reserves the right to reject any bids if submitted bids do not meet the minimum accepted sale threshold, or if the board just chooses that they don't want to do that.
And just a question, if the motion gets carried here, how long would we keep the bids out for?
But I think that's what we need to determine. I don't know what is normal, is a month bill? I don't even know what's normal.
I don't think there's anything that's standard or normal, whatever the board thinks is reasonable considering the property and the timing.
But that should be added to the motion.
Yeah, we can, or it
Yeah,
doesn't necessarily need to be
I
at
think
the
it's-
motion. You could just tell us what you want to put in.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be things that we'll put in the bid that we want to require, as part of the bid. So, or maybe what the planned use for the property would be, what is maybe a timeline of what you see the property being used for, things of that nature, I think are good things to include.
Is your check good?
Well,
Mr. President, I move that we table this to next year,
To next year?
next meeting, and then the next year.
Okay.
Well, we got the audit
Okay.
done.
No, motion's been made to table. Is there a second?
I guess I just have further questions.
Okay, but is there a second? We don't need to discuss it. There's no second.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Okay, so my discussions would be, kind of like you said, timeline would, if we open it up for bids, is it just going to be that I need a tax deduction and it just sits vacant? Who would we sell it to as far as, does it improve the community? Those types of things I think need to be considered, not just the dollar amount, but what could structurally be there.
So we want to require that they tell us the usage and their plan for it?
That's what I think, or
I think
even if
so.
even if they come forward with their proposal of a bid, let's say, they would have to come to the board and say what they want to do with the land. I think it needs to be, I think it's a big piece of property that could be very, very valuable to the city of Hayes in itself and the district, and I think those people should come forward as to what their plan is for it. That's my opinion.
My concern is that, I agree with what you're saying, we have all these unknowns, and that they ought to be laid out. We're not in any rush, as far as I understand. We don't need the money. It's not a whole lot of money compared to everything else that we should. Mr. Wilson, was there something you wanted to comment on that?
Yeah, it's a lot of money. We have uses for it, so I find that amazing.
I'm just saying, in a broad scope, it's, and we don't know, as far as the plan, do we need the property for something? I mean, we might need something down the road. I mean, what's our long-range plans for, to purchase property where we're going to need property? It's going to be a lot more than that.
Well, I asked that question when we first discussed it, if we'd need the land. It was voted that we didn't need the land, that we would have the football field. Well, we had discussion. Nobody agreed with me that we needed it then, so I don't know what would change as far as that goes, because we talked that we would use the football field if we needed to expand that school when I brought it up. So I guess I wouldn't know what would have changed now, because it's the same board that talked about it.
Is the,
I guess I just don't want to check for whatever, and then it just sits there.
What about
That's my opinion.
the value of the water rights? Do we have that in here? I didn't notice it.
They're not part. The water is in the outdoor classroom area.
Yes.
They're not on that side like we had thought earlier. I think that's in the survey, I think.
Yeah.
I guess, thank you for emailing back as far as the market appraisal. I guess, was it in the meeting for November 10th when I went back? I could not find it. I still couldn't find it when it was listed out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't, we maybe just talked about it. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, it's listed out on one of the diligence. I just didn't know why it wasn't there. Sometimes I depend on, prior meetings, kind of depend on that to go back and look at things. The fact that it wasn't on there, or at least I couldn't find it, I thought maybe it was just a desktop. I can't find it on my tablet either, so I didn't know.
Are you talking about when we first discussed it?
When we first discussed it,
It was at our summer work session.
Well, I'm talking about
And Galen Romy came and presented. Is that what you're talking about?
I was talking about the market analysis, which was November 10th.
Yeah,
So
that's what he,
Yeah, that's what he did.
well, exactly, but I'm saying, we talked about it at the work session, and then we tasked you to go and kind of find out what the value might be. And then on November 10th, it was listed out Galen Romy's not appraisal, but market valuation. Then today I tried to go back to the November 10th meeting, I couldn't find it, unless it's there and I just can't find it.
There's just a lot of information here, and I'd like to look through it.
No, it is on
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
I'm not divulging any numbers, but it
Okay,
was.
all right.
So I
within
guess if I made a motion, Mr. President, to say that we would accept sealed bids.
No, we're still on tabling.
okay.
Any more discussion about tabling?
What, is there a rush? Do we have to have it?
If we table it till next month, then it'll be tabled till next month. If it fails, then we're going to continue on with the motion or this discussion.
Well, I think also the way things are marketed, because a lot of people are online shopping as far as the MLS number, like to try to get the best money that we can. I think that could be helpful because I know there's a lot of people moving places and, people that from bigger cities not that we have to sell it to them, but at least get a bigger online footprint where they could just search property in Hayes and see that there is a lot available. So I think maybe putting that into, make sure it's an MLS listed, for so long.
Yeah, advertise it.
Yeah.
Okay? Any other discussion about the table? All right, seeing no discussion about tabling, we will vote to table this item. If it passes, would be tabled to the January meeting? Is that what you're asking, Mr. Park?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All those in favor of tabling this motion till January, say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed would vote no.
No.
No. Motion fails 4-2. All right, back to the original discussion of said property.
So I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the authorization for the sale of this property through a sealed bid process in accordance with applicable state and local regulations. And I guess in addition, the Board of Education reserves the right to reject any and all bids submitted if the submitted bid does not meet the minimum acceptable sale or otherwise deemed not in the best interest of the district.
Okay?
If we want to amend
So what is
No.
it now?
specify that in the bid, they have to say what their intentions are?
Here's what I suggest, just because of the timing. We're really not going to do anything with this probably this week, and then we have kind of a winter break. And so I would say we probably work on putting that together, and we'll bring that back to the board on what the intentions are, and then we'll send out, we'll probably shortly after the next meeting, just to let the board know exactly what we have, and if there wants to be conversations about what specifically has been, I'll take some of what Ruth has put down, and we'll work together to and I'll work with Bill.
So you're going to bring us
I'll
bring a final contract?
A formal bid
Okay.
process. And then,
So we're just giving the okay to proceed with, to draw up a contract?
Yeah.
We're just approving the
Yeah,
authorization.
and I think also it's good to move forward on this because then it alerts people, to say, oh, well, this property's going to come up. They'll start processing and
Okay.
thinking about it and what they might want to do.
Then I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Also, going back to Dr. Yarmer, Galen Romy said there's online services too that they use as well. So I think that would be wise if it's put there.
Excuse me, is there fees for that? Is this going to be?
If they just bring it when we find out.
I don't know.
But
I'm sure there is.
If we could contact that way too, because he did discuss that with me.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Any more discussion?
I would like to amend the motion to add, it'll be listing or advertising beyond Hayes, Kansas.
That's what we just said. That's what, he's going to bring that back, and so we can approve that or not approve that when it comes.
This is to authorize.
We're just saying it's,
For sealed bids.
we are saying, this vote is, we are giving the okay to draw up the contract that they're going to bring back to us in January to move forward.
Can you read back the motion, please?
This is what the motion says. The motion to approve the authorization for the sale of 7.23 acres of district-owned property located at 201 West 29th Street, north of the current Hayes Middle School football field, through a sealed bid process in accordance with applicable state and local regulations. In addition, the Board of Education reserves the right to reject any and all bids if submitted bids do not meet the minimum acceptable sale threshold or are otherwise deemed not in the best interest of the district.
Okay, is he going to amend his bid or his motion? Because that's not what he motioned.
That's what he motioned.
Not all of that.
He
Yeah, that's
read
what I
it.
said.
He
I've read it word for word.
No, that's what he read, but that's what's been seconded. Do you want to amend that?
I requested an amend that we do that you said it's going to be in the information to do
They're going to bring the
Search.
they're going to bring the contract that's going to be sent out with the dates of when it's due and the advertising and the sources that it's going to be sent out on. Is that correct, Mr. Wilson? Yeah. Okay, are we good with that, Mr. Park?
I understand the motion now.
Okay. Any more discussion? Seeing no more discussion, all those in favor vote yes. Yes. All those opposed vote no.
No.
Passes 5-1. Thank you. Okay, next is 6.4, if I'm not, yes, 6.4, the calendars.
Yeah, we've just been working through the process. We've have met twice with calendar committee, had good conversations, and have come up with a consensus with what we feel like is a pretty good calendar for 26-27 and then ongoing 27-28. Calendars in front of you, they're pretty fairly close with what we've done the previous years. Not a lot of huge differences. Christmas breaks are pretty much the same. Thanksgiving break is the same. Of course, spring break is always dictated by our university's schedules. And so last day of school on 26-27 is May 21st. First day of school next year is August 19th. Once again, the 27-28 calendar is pretty close to the same. Like I mentioned in the board agenda notes, we did not put the PD days in the calendars, only because there's been some conversation about looking at possibly maybe replacing a few of the PD days with student contact days. But once again, that's a negotiated item, so we can't really do anything with that until negotiations. We've been looking at possibly the December, March, and then potentially May. That one's still up in the air because a lot of our elementary specifically do a ton of work in terms of some of our data in the May, and they find that. So we'll work through that. Also, we're going to also talk a little bit more about, what are the best days. Our Monday is always the best day. So once again, we did not put those PD days on the calendar just to avoid any confusion.
So will they bring a new calendar to us to be approved after that?
Well, technically, it's just, those days are in the calendar. They're in the, they're part of the negotiated agreement. So they're going in regardless somewhere. So it's really not necessarily needs a lot of approval on the PD because that's already in the negotiated agreement that we have those PD days.
When will those be decided?
Well, the conversation, we have to open negotiations. And so I don't know.
So that'll be part of the negotiations?
Yeah.
Is this a later start than, I know that this year we started pretty late because of construction?
It's not any later. It's basically the same calendar as this year, but it's moved back a day. It's actually, I think, moved back a day because the calendar.
So I'm trying to figure out when the university starts this year, because traditionally the district had started the week before the university, and this year the university started a few days before the district. Is that?
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, this year, we're going to need every day we can this summer. Because, well, and specifically, probably Laughlin and Felton will be finishing. Once again, we'll be under construction, and so any extra days we get towards in the summer are going to be beneficial. So.
Jamie, you probably plan on regions, like we live in the region calendar, but we also look at Acacia, and so we start the same week as fall.
Yeah, I just found it. It starts on August 17th. I just.
Yeah,
And a couple years ago, Acacia, it was like the reset year for Acacia, everything starts to drip.
Yeah.
And they do like a week of look back. A couple years ago is when that happened. You have to go inside and see the change.
Okay.
Yeah, and really, I mean, the one thing we did hear from coaches who were on the calendar committee is that they really appreciate that we are not like some of the school districts who actually start school and they can't practice for the first week. So that's just difficult. So they do appreciate it being kind of kept in line with the vacation calendar.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion.
One second, I'm finding it.
Me too. I'll make a motion to approve the school district calendar as presented for school year 26-27 and 27-28.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion, any more discussion? Any questions? Okay, seeing none, I shall call for the vote. All those in favor vote yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed vote no. Motion passes 6-0. Next on the agenda is 6.5, asbestos abatement, Felton Elementary School.
Yeah, this is just the last part of what we've been doing in terms of getting ready for renovation at Felton. We'll start that renovation here sometime next semester. We need to get some asbestos. Most of the asbestos is in floor tile, the glue in the floor tile, and some of the window glazing. So this is a bid. I lost my screen, but I think it's from Integrated Solutions for $110,315. Just asking for approval so we can get that moving and get that taken care of before construction begins.
Mr. President.
What was the amount for?
$110,350.
And we had budgeted 175.
Well, we had in our capital outlay plan estimated that it could potentially be 175,000. Once again, those are just estimates.
Okay, yes, but that's wasn't the estimate. Yes, sir.
I move that we table this to the next meeting. The reasons.
No.
being-
You want to table to the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Okay, a couple things. One of our agreed upon procedures was that we were going to try to not have a item that comes on, such a high item, come onto our agenda without having some time to discuss it and look at it.
Okay.
We have the numbers here, but I don't see, unless it's somewhere else in here that I haven't seen it, is the bid sheets in here?
They're in there.
I see the numbers here, but how many square feet are we talking about? Is it the entire building or just certain sections?
It's all the floor,
Of the floor?
top.
All the flooring?
Yeah, all floor top.
Okay, so we don't have other options, like there's some of that tile that's not that old because of new sections of that building, and I would like to walk through the building to see how it actually looks and have a tour of that building. I don't know are these all the same three that we did last time, Mr. Wilson? The three?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a reason why we didn't use abatement companies in Kansas? All these are out of state.
I can't answer that.
I can. Right now, there's an extreme labor shortage. I have to hear about it every single night, and it's killing me. A lot of companies in Kansas aren't bidding on things because they don't have the workers to do them. So, I mean, maybe some companies in Kansas did, probably bid high because that's what it's going to cost to get them to be able to do it, or that's what they're saying for them to be able to take the job and say it's worth it. But a lot of companies that have the labor are not from in-state.
Okay, do you know that for a fact? Or-
Yes.
Okay, but I called some companies and they said we didn't know it was bid.
Well, there's that, like, it's their job to go into the bidding system and find the bids. So, like,
It's
it's put
usually
into-
advertised.
Right, but it's also in the bidding system. Like, it would be like, I'm looking for a place to rent, so I know that I need to go on to Next Tech Classifieds, or there's like a Hayes apartment site. Like, I know I need to go to those sites to be able to find a place to live. There is a site, there's a program for bids, and they know in order to find these things to bid on, they have to go to that site.
These numbers look very similar to the ones we had at the high school, and it's the same low bid, and that's a Kansas City company, I
It's not
believe.
the same low bid, ACM,
No, ACM did the,
low bid at the high
Yeah.
school.
ACM, they did not bid this one?
yes, they bid, yeah.
Okay, and this has to occur before,
Yeah, that's the thing I would like to input here is it would severely disrupt our schedule if we delay this, because really what we're planning to do is to get this done before, we have to have it done before we start construction at Felt, and we can't do anything, so by pushing it back another month, we're pushing it back possibly the start of school for our elementary kids and the transit move over the summer, so.
Now, I know that we asked and requested that big ticket items like this, give us more time, and I still agree with that. I do, like, we do need that. But I will say, like, Ron has no control over this specific aspect. He is, like, we have hired Napolts to say, hey, this is what we need to get done. They are putting out the bids in the timely manner that works for construction. Right now, construction companies are not focused on educational timelines and Board of Education timelines. They're focused on timelines that work for them. When can they get workers? When can they get materials? When can they get this done? So, yes, Napol's probably said, okay, the bid's out, right? Here's what we're going to do. We got a bid in, and we have to get it to the board now because that's how construction works. I don't like it, but I don't think we have an option in this, and I'm not going to blame Ron for it because he's not in charge of putting the bids out. He's in charge of communicating with Napol's. If you could communicate with Napol's to maybe put the bids out sooner, that would be great, but I also know that a lot of companies can't bid on that because they're like, we don't know that far in advance. Does that make sense?
And I guess my question would be, as far as the middle school goes now, the newest addition was the tornado shelter. That was what year?
Yeah,
That
well,
was what year, Ron?
I don't necessarily think, that's not asbestos, so we're not necessarily
Right, so
taking
that'd be the
asbestos.
only piece. All the rest is original flooring.
probably.
Original flooring,
Probably
1966.
there's 6 classrooms on that west side of that gym.
Right.
That would be part of that too.
Right.
Yeah.
All the rest would
Yes,
be
I would.
original flooring.
The other thing is, do we need to use an abatement company? The answer is no, because the mastic does not, in the state of Kansas, does not have to be used. You do not have to use an abatement company, which is like almost 10 times what one contractor said. So, and even we had at the high school, Mr. Warren, you had our custodians remove 3 or 4 classrooms. We did not use an abatement company. So I'd like to see some local companies, at least something to compare with, see what would you do? And then ways that we could do this in phases. Maybe we don't want to do all this all at once. Maybe we want to do this section, and we do some next summer. I don't know what the rush is, because the floors are pretty decent.
But if you pull
And
up,
I'd like to go look at them to see before I make this decision.
if you pull up one section, I thought it was airborne or.
They're non-friable.
The rules are different. As schools, we are not subject to OSHA. Every contractor that we would bring in to do something is subject to OSHA. OSHA says you would have to abate the mastic, even if it's not, or even though it's not friable. However, we're talking about the floor tile in this case is, now whether that makes it friable, I don't know. But yes, we can technically send in our people because OSHA, we don't work under OSHA.
But in Kansas,
But
we
we
don't
could
have
not
to.
bring in someone else to do our floors because they are subject to OSHA. So we're in a catch-22 in order to get it abated. Now, I would say as far as timeline, we manage the request for bids. It's been on the capital outlay map and the remodel is going. So I'm feel like we followed the timeline in that.
Okay,
we
it's
talked
on the
about what's
5-year
going-
plan.
We put out the bid, and we received all the bids that we received, and it's public, it's released to the public, just like every other bid, online. And as Member Getz said, that's where vendors go to define bids. So we followed all of the same procedures that we do every time we bid something.
I understand, but our discussion was, big ticket items, things, more than $20,000, definitely more than $100,000 should be brought to us meeting prior for a discussion prior to and vote on the next meeting. We have plenty of meetings, and I think the board schedule could be incorporated into the bid schedule to where we're not pushing back anything, because everything that's brought to us is we got to do it right now or else it will never get done, to some extent. So I think what we're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is that we want these things brought to us and presented as, hey, this is coming down the pipeline, we have bids coming out, these are what the bids are, and then we'll vote on the next one, just like the KASB has us do for all the new policy changes, like first one's a read through, next one's a vote.
Yeah, my question is though, sometimes we do need to move on things. And this is one thing we definitely need to move
Well,
on.
but everything has been something we need to move on. We had to move on concession stand, we had to move on tent. I mean, there's things that, there's no way that we can't, and not everything's an emergency. If everything's an emergency, then nothing's an emergency. So there will be times that we have,
Yes, it is an emergency because, once again, Jamie kind of referenced this, the work is, people want to get on schedules. You start delaying it, you don't get on their schedule. And so it causes a lot of problems.
but we were talking about a 2-week forethought, like this proper planning prevents this. Like if you say, hey, we have a board meeting November 25th, get us your bids by then, we vote on tonight, it doesn't delay anything.
Well, the thing is, like Chris mentioned, we've been talking about this. We've been talking about it, several meetings where we've talked about it's going to be $175,000. That's on the record. It's in the plan. We've talked about it. So you've had that number, knowing what it is. So I guess in a sense, you probably should celebrate that it is $110,000 and not $175,000.
So prior to Friday, did we as a board know this was coming to a vote today? Like I didn't see it in anything. I saw in the 5-year capital outlay plan that
Bids were open on Friday.
Okay, I understand that. I didn't know that they were open on Friday. Did anybody else?
Well, that's not your role to know. That's what our role is as managers, and that's what we do.
Yes, but we said policy, and one thing that we have been in agreement on is big ticket items come in like the meeting before we vote on.
Yeah, there is no policy.
And the question
Well,
is,
no, but we can
you don't have to use an abatement company to do it.
Yeah.
I
So I mean,
guess-
it's an ask. It's a
No, you don't.
nice ask. Like if we could just have.
Bring me the documentation. In the state of Kansas, you do not have to have an abatement company do this. We could have our local people do it in sections.
That's.
And what local people?
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't know what.
Carpet layers,
No,
people
here's
that
the thing.
talk-
A lot of
I
carpet
understand,
people
I
won't
understand what you're saying.
touch us.
I don't think we could find anybody who would be willing to do that. Like, if I go ask a local company, would you be willing to do this without abatement? I don't think they want that potential lawsuit on their hands, and I don't want that on my hands. Like, don't get me wrong, I would love for it to be cheaper, but it's just not. I do have a question. If we say we're going to table this to January, and we potentially stall the timeline of our own bond process, do those construction companies and Nabholz have grounds to sue us for slowing down their timeline?
I won't necessarily say that. They are planning to be out of here, so.
Well, like, I know that if, like, say,
They have other
a construction
jobs that
company they've sourced out, and they slow down and they don't meet the timelines, they sue the heck out of them, could they do the same
But this is
to us?
capital outlay funds, correct?
This is capital outlay funds, but it's all connected to
It affects-
Well, I know it's
Nabholz,
connected,
'cause
but it's still capital
they need
outlay.
it
We
done
can do it
before
for
they
half as
can
much
start their
or
work.
a lot less.
So-
I'd like to see some local people or other companies, can you do this?
I guess
How much would it
my
cost
question would
per
be,
square foot?
if you did sections, like you and Derek were talking, you did sections at a time, how would that disrupt the classroom? So then if you're having to pull, let's say it's this classroom and you're pulling up this floor, where's that teacher and those kids going to go? You're talking disruption to elementary kids. So to me, that is a value right there in itself to consider that.
You're absolutely
And the
right.
bids are only going to go
Let her
up.
finish, please.
They're only going to go up.
Yes, Alan?
She's absolutely right. You want to look at disruption, but you can also look at, okay, can it be done? Let's go walk through. Let's look, okay, this section's really bad. I imagine the cafeteria is really bad. and that probably needs to be done.
The hallways are bad.
And some of the hallways are bad, some of them are fairly new. But I don't have the per square foot. How many square feet are we needing to do? But we can do some during Christmas break, we can do some during summertime, we can do some during spring break. There's a way to do
shut
that,
down
so
for
there's
6
less
months, so
disruption.
that's why we're going to do it now. 'Cause the building is shut down.
Mr. President, I'd like to call for a vote.
All right, I got it. Okay. I do have some questions. How many bids did we get?
3.
Okay. And then and it has been discussed before, you know, to bring this to us at November 24th would have been, is ideal, so we can think and manipulate. I'm just saying, and it's been discussed before, and I've heard it, that we're going down that road, and it'd be nice to be able to think about it for the time slot before we vote. And it has been discussed. Okay?
And these 3 companies, they're all out of state. One's like back east.
Got it. Okay, all right, so the motion is to table it to the next meeting, right? That was your motion, Mr.
get more information.
That was your motion, Mr. Park, and then Dr. Yarmer, second it. Do you have another comment?
Oh, I was just going to say that, you know, we discussed, Felton's older than the old Hayes High, and we had asbestos removal. So I guess in my mind, I knew it was going to be discussed because that building was in 1966, I believe, is when it was built. So that's older than the old Hayes High, so why would asbestos not have been part of that then? So it was already in my mind that this was going to be discussion, I guess.
All right.
That's my point.
Mr. Brooks, we shall call the vote. All those in favor of tabling the motion to the next meeting, vote yes.
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 Those opposed, vote no.
No.
No. Motion to table fails for 2.
Pictures pop up.
Yes, we got them. Okay, so now we're back to, holy moly, computer.
I'll make a motion to accept low bid of $110,315 from Integrated Solutions for the removal of asbestos floor tile adhesive and window glazing from Felton Elementary during renovations.
Second.
All right, yeah, I'm still getting it. This computer, whew. Okay, you got it. Any more discussion?
I think it should be noted that we should probably expect abatement for a very long time. In fact, I had to double check because I know I talked about it and I did some research. The Biden administration enacted a significant rule in March of 2024 to ban the ongoing use, processing, and import of asbestos in our materials. And there is a 12-year phase-out plan. So asbestos is still being used in some materials that are going into buildings today. Now, it's not dangerous if it's airborne, or unless it's airborne. So, I will always vote yes on anything health and safety related. This will just keep coming up. So I'm just going to keep that in my back.
Okay. Any other discussion? This is a question to the administrator, are we about done with all asbestos?
For the most part,
With all our remodels and our,
the only one I'm questioning, and I can't tell you right now, is we have the gym floor at O'Loughlin. I'm not sure if that's.
but Wilson?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, we're done. We're done. I mean, I would say we're done, but gym floors.
I understand that, but Wilson doesn't expect a big floor tile.
Well, we did the HVAC there, and so we did some asbestos removal on some of the fittings and things like that prior to the addition to the office area and some of the HVAC work, so, yeah.
I guess, I'm guessing that these bigger companies that are coming in from out of town, part of their bid cost is mobilization to bring people out here.
Sure.
Like if we knew that the floor for O'Loughlin, the gym.
Well, the problem
I
is we
understand,
need.
but that seems like a potential,
Yeah, it's a perfect scenario, yeah, if we shut down school for,
For
6
3 months
months
over the
in
summer.
O'Loughlin, it'd be awesome.
Okay.
Over the winter.
Any other discussion?
Could we get the report? We had a report on asbestos when we started the construction, right, for all the schools that we're having construction projects. We have not seen that. Can you give that to us so we can see how much square foot per building has asbestos, asbestos tile, asbestos mastic? That's all in that report.
Although there's not much left.
I know, but I'd like to see it because we're looking at spending capital outlay money.
Is there a report?
Well, we've already spent it, that's what I'm saying. We've already spent it.
Okay.
There definitely is. Before you start a project, you have to get an asbestos report.
We have asbestos. Yeah, we have.
Are we up to date with our district-wide asbestos plan?
We have an asbestos certified officer or whatever, so.
And that's one of our person on staff?
Yes.
Who's had the training, or is still doing the training?
Every other year, 1 year he does training.
Which student is, which staff member is that?
Aaron.
Aaron is a certified person, okay? And is our district plan up to date? When was the last time we had our 3-year evaluation?
I will ask you that.
I don't think we've had one since 6 years.
Did you do your homework?
I'm gonna pick up my son.
Can you bring the updated one to us at the next meeting?
Sorry.
Or the last one we had?
Any more discussion?
Thank you.
Yep. Any more? All right. Let's vote. All those in favor, vote yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, vote no.
No.
Passes 4-2. Okay, next up is 6.6. Since we have adjusted the President, Vice President to a January, December, the current President, Vice President has served 6 months to get to the January, so this will be the first time that we'll go January, December, so this will be a full 1-year commitment. So we're asking, well, the vote will happen at the next meeting in January, and we are asking so we can contemplate those that are interested in running or being considered for those offices in our January meeting. So I will start with you, Mr. Park, if you have any intentions or would like to be considered.
Not at this time.
Okay. Ruth?
I'm interested in vice president.
Okay. I would be interested in both.
No.
I'm good.
I'd be interested, President.
Just president? Okay. Okay. We shall make that on our agenda for January and vote for those. Next is executive session, where we shall finish up from our other executive session that we had at the last meeting. So the motion is to go into executive session for personal matters for non-elected personnel in order to protect the privacy interest of an identifiable individual.
You want to ask Craig?
Oh, about running?
If he's interested.
No, I'm sorry. I got a pillar.
Yeah.
Mr. Pallister? I'm sorry, sir, but there's a...
The question?
Would you like to be considered for President, Vice President at our next meeting in January, where you will vote for those?
I have not, I really had not put a thought into that since I am not on the board as of this meeting. So I would like to hold off from answering that question until I am on the board at the next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
So would you please remind I to ask you, and then we'll go from there and for nominations, because I will forget.
Okay, I'll
I
remind
appreciate that. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Pallister. Okay. All right, back to where, okay. Interest of identifiable individuals. We will meet down in the training room. There'll be 6 board members, and we will start at 8:25 and return at 8:45. Did I get them all in? Did I get everything I needed?
Is that going to be enough time?
All right.
Is that going to be enough time?
I hope so. If not, we'll come back. Okay? Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, we shall vote. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, no. 6-0. Okay, and there will be no items afterwards.
I was 95% sure that
I want it.
you said there was going to be one, but my wife was like, we get off early enough.
I told you to do your homework.
I know.
Come on. I remembered.
Yeah.
I even made you a sheet.
Okay.
Yeah.